Welcome viewers, good evening. Welcome to Bharat and Geopolitics. In a world brimming with possibilities, our podcast aims to uncover the profound insights that lie within the India geopolitical landscape. Join us as we embark on a journey to explore how India's rich history, diverse culture, and strategic positioning can serve as a wellspring of inspirations for shaping a brighter tomorrow. Today we have the honor of welcoming Dr. Adityanjee. Dr. Adityanjee is the President of the Council for Strategic Affairs. He is a distinguished expert in Indian geopolitics to guide us through this enlightening conversation. With decades of experience and a keen understanding of the intricate dynamics at play, Dr. Adityanjee is poised to unravel the lessons we can glean from India's geopolitical journey. Together, let's delve into the narratives, nuances, and lessons that can empower us to forge a future grounded wisdom, innovation, and collective prosperity. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and motivated to harness the transformative potential that India geopolitics holds for us all. Tune in, engage, and let's embark on this transformative exploration together. Welcome, Dr. Adityanjee. Welcome to our platform.
Welcome. Thank you, Mr. Sinha. It's always a pleasure to be on your platform. I'm very happy indeed to be back and have a conversation with you.
Thank you so much, sir. So we have discussed a lot about India and geopolitics. Actually, our podcast is named Bharat and Geopolitics for that purpose only. So I am coming to you with my first question. How can India's historical resilience and diplomatic strategy inform contemporary approaches to navigate geopolitical challenges and fostering global cooperation?
I think before I comment on that, I want to make certain assertions.
Oh,
Bharat is a civilizational nation.
yes, sir.
Bharat is an ancient nation. Bharat did not start in 1947.
Right.
Bharat had rich experience
Yeah.
And has been in certain ways a victim, in certain ways a conqueror. The boundaries that we have of Bharat today are not the historical boundaries we had.
Yes.
Over a period of time, we have lost our territory. So
Yeah.
we need to keep all these things in mind when we say that historical resilience and diplomatic strategies inform the contemporary approaches. In navigating geopolitical challenges and fostering global cooperation. Whenever we talk about the influence of a country in geopolitics, there are three aspects. One is the hard power, one is soft power, and third is the smart power.
Yes, sir.
We have generally talked about how we can use soft power to become a Vishwaguru, to spread our cultural influence and all that sort of thing. But for any nation to have geopolitical influence in the entire globe, you do need different strategies. You need multiple options in your toolbox. One size does not fit all.
Yeah.
And as our ancient fathers have said, forefathers have said, you have to use Sam, Dam, Danda, Bheda. These are all tactics that you use to achieve your geopolitical objectives. And while achieving your objectives, you are also spreading your civilizational, cultural influence into other parts of the world.
Right, sir.
You may have seen that what we did to foster global cooperation was very recent vaccine Maitri Abhiyan.
Yeah.
We showed resilience. We challenged the Wuhan virus epidemic. Yes, there were problems, but successfully Bharat created its own vaccines, one based on AstraZeneca formula and one totally indigenous, utilizing the time-tested technology, not an mRNA vaccine.
Yeah.
And we were able to vaccinate free of cost all the citizens of India in a reasonable period of time. Yes, there were some delays, but pretty much all the countries faced that kind of delay.
Yeah.
Yes, there were some mortalities, but despite that, Vaccine Maitri Abhiyan went to more than 100 countries at a time when Chinese vaccine was a dud. It did not have the protection it claimed.
Yeah.
It also influenced the WHO to delay approval of Indian vaccine by the WHO. And while India was trying to foster cooperation with United States as a member of Quad,
Yeah.
United States invoked the Defense uh, Production Act to disallow transfer of certain raw materials to India during that period of time. Let's not forget that.
It's
Let's also not forget that United States refused to deliver 60 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine, which they had in their supplies, but which was not approved for utilization in United States. It did not have the FDA approval at that point in time. So they were hoarding those things. In contrast to that, India did a very noble act. It fostered global cooperation by sharing that vaccine with countries that had no indigenous manufacturing ability all over the world. So this is an example how we can use our resilience, our skills. I think we have focused on a knowledge-based economy. That is our strength. And we
yeah.
need to continue to focus on that and use that to deal with contemporary challenges, to use those skills to help rest of the world and foster cooperation. But while we are doing that, let's not forget the hard power aspect of it. If you are in geopolitics, you have to understand there is something called real politics.
Yeah.
You have to use what you can call kutniti,
Yeah.
and the Western hemisphere will cause Machiavellian tactics. So your policy formulation needs to use all those things. And as I said, Sama, Dam, Danda, Veda, everything together. Because whole world is not so nice. We have taken this approach that everyone would be nice to us. No, it is not like that. You have enemies. You have enemies next door and you have distant enemies. And you need to understand. And sometimes you have to have a discriminative sense as to who is your enemy and who is your friend. Because having unrestrained, infinite trust in anyone who comes at your door leads to your downfall. Similarly, you know, focusing too much on diversity for the sake of it leads to more problems for it. History of Bharat is replete with examples that having too much of trust in diversity and diverse groups, if that becomes a primary aim, that leads to your downfall.
Yeah.
In wars after wars, you have seen that you trusted the wrong horse, you
Yes.
trusted the wrong group. So
Yes.
again, while I'm okay with, you know, spreading India's cultural influence, using our diverse history I mean, we have diverse history, but we also have, unity in our diversity, or the other way around, diversity in our unity.
It is. Sorry to disrupt you. For our viewers, can you please just give a brief explanation of Sam, Dam, Dand, Ved?
So, I mean, Sam is basically dialogue, conversation,
Yeah,
and Dam is you have to pay off certain things. You have to pay
economic.
the bills. Dam.
Yeah,
Danda is punishment.
yeah, right.
If you have to have certain objectives
Yeah,
and there is a recalcitrant enemy or adversary who does not learn from dialogue or some what is called appeasement by giving some help financially or giving them some goodies.
yeah, right.
In Indian context is called tripti karana. If that does not help, then there's a role for danda.
Yeah,
Okay, role for power or force.
yeah.
And lastly, bheda
Ved is aspiring.
is, is creating division amongst the adversaries, that you use some, you know, behaviors or secretive tools so
Mm-hmm.
that your adversaries are divided, you create divisions amongst themselves. And, Britishers always use divide and
Yeah,
rule.
yeah. They did it very well.
That was Bheda. They will create discord between two communities and then tell each of them that we are with you, we are guarding your interests, and let them fight over each other.
Yeah, even after the independence, even our own government did it uses very aggressively the Ved, the dividing the
Bheda
people.
has been used by the former ruling party all the time,
Yeah,
and it continues to be used by imperial powers even now.
yeah.
So I had the honor of discussing issues between Bharat and Maldives at some previous time. So now you have a situation with this small adversary that you tried dialogue, you tried Sam,
Hmm.
you tried Dam, you have given so much of help unconditionally without any return, without any transactionality.
Yeah.
Time has come to use punishment because that adversary is bringing a very strong
Hmm.
enemy
Right.
into the equation. So you have to use Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed. And there was a time Maldives and Sri Lanka were coordinating their activities, their political stance. Now Sri Lanka is not doing that. So we need to understand why that is happening.
Yeah.
So again, you have to use every tool in your diplomatic toolbox to advance the national interests. We are not a warmongering nation. Bharat has never been a warmongering nation, but it does not mean that Bharat is a lamb state, is
Yeah.
a soft state.
Yeah.
Yes, it has behaved like a lamb state or a soft state. Anybody who has come can come and kick us, but that situation is changing now. Bharat is changing, it's rising, it's going through, as I've expressed, a new renaissance. Like your banner says, Hind Punarathan.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh, we are realizing our own potential and we are dealing with the rest of the world, keeping in view our experiences and our potential. And I think that's the way we need to deal with the rest of the world while fostering global cooperation. But make no mistake, we are not going to turn the other cheek if somebody slaps one of our cheeks. That's not going to happen any further. It used to happen,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen any further.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So I am moving to my next question. In what ways can India's cultural diversity and inclusive governance
Mhm.
serve as a blueprint for promoting social cohesion, harmony, and equitable development in diverse societies?
I think we are a living example, uh, you know, of how we are dealing with diversity, how we are promoting harmony, and that is an example for other countries. And we are a multi-religious, multi-ethnic, multilingual democracy with linguistic diversity. If you see, besides the official language, there are so many dialects.
So many, I think, as I know, it's more than 3,000 dialects
Yes,
in
and
India.
yet we are able to have commonality.
Yeah.
We are able to have some unity despite all this. Yes, there are some problems. There are some interreligious problems because of certain groups that are hell-bent on imposing themselves on rest of the population.
Yeah.
But by and large, we have managed without major conflict.
Yes.
And other countries need to learn that. Countries like Sri Lanka need to learn that. There was a ethnic strife in Sri Lankan Tamils and Sinhalese population. And I use that island nation for a very specific reason. If you look at history of Sri Lanka, all the population of Sri Lanka actually came from Bharat.
Okay. Sinhalese also.
Yes, Sinhalese people came from Bharat. Actually, Tamil people were there much earlier because it was very nearby.
Yeah.
But Sinhalese people came from northern India.
Oh.
And you know Sri Lanka of Ramayana? Where did Ravana come from?
Yeah.
He was born somewhere in Rajasthan.
Oh, I see. I never heard of it.
I think there's a village where they celebrate Ravana. Uh, and then he conquered Lanka, started he was a very well respected, very well learned uh, sort of person, uh, starting with very religious, but once you become the king, you become arrogant and you do mistakes and things like that. So I'm trying to Sri Lanka. So both these groups, Sri Lankan Tamils and Sinhalese population, owe their origin to Bharat. Now,
Right.
Sinhalese, they became Buddhist under Ashok's son and daughter. Ashok's daughter Sangamitra was sent as an emissary by Samrat Ashok and his king son Mahendra as emissaries to spread Buddhism in Sri Lanka. Prior to that, it was Hindu, Sanatana. So Sinhalese population adopted Buddhism, and then under colonial influence, they started to change their names
Hmm.
and started to take, instead of Sanskrit-based names, they started to take Christian names, Christian sounding names. And they developed their language, which has a distinct identity. So they became an ethnic group without realizing that their origins are from Bharat. I'll give you an example. There was a president of Sri Lanka with whom actually Rajiv Gandhi in 1988 signed a pact by which IPKF was sent
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
And the name of that president was Junius Richard Jayawardena. See picture of Junior Richard Jayawardena and compare with a picture of a former India's External Affairs Minister, S.N. Mishra. You cannot, and they were in different times, but when you look at the pictures, there's no distinction. People would get confused seeing S.N. Mishra as J.R. Jayawardena. So when we can manage these differences in Bharat, why can't Sri Lanka do that?
Yeah.
We have been trying to tell Sri Lanka that instead of having a unitary state, you have a union of states. They had this constitution with 14th Amendment that asked for devolution of powers to the states, but they did not fully implement, so they had problems. But using Indian model of union of states with a strong center could have helped Sri Lanka. Similarly, there were problems in Nepal. There are still problems in Nepal. Again, a unitary state did not take into consideration the interests of quote unquote Madhesis. You are from Bihar and you know who are Madhesis.
Yeah, Madhesi, I have heard the name, but I don't have a clear idea.
Okay. So Nepal has, Nepal was a kingdom, and over a period of time, 200 years, it unified into one solid nation. They were hill people,
Yeah.
you know, who consider themselves as the real rulers of Nepal. And in the Tarai region of Nepal, these are Madhesi peoples. Most of them are actually gone from Bharat, from Bihar, Bengal, and Uttar Pradesh or Uttarakhand. Now they are settled for centuries there. And actually, there was a time they were not even, Tarai region was not even part of Nepal. But when the Nepalese kings, the Shahs, consolidated the kingdom, Tarai became part of Nepal. So again, you have the same language, Nepalese, same religion, both Tarai people and hill people, the Shreshthas and all that sort of thing. They are Hindus. You speak the same language, you live in the same country, but because there are ethnic differences,
Yeah.
one has more Mongoloid features, the other group has more Caucasoid features. You're fighting with each other, you're not doing devolution of power. And even after Nepal became a democracy, initially they refused to convert unitary state into a federal or a union of state model that India uses. India does not use a federal model. India uses a union of state model. But how they divided into 6 states, instead of, doing natural divisions, they just, from top to bottom divided into 6 states. So the problem still remains that there are, hill people, and then at the bottom, Tarai people, hill people, Tarai people. That was not the way to divide. Actually, there has to be some, so Tarai people or the Madhesi peoples feel empowered. You have to empower every community to avoid the strife, and
Yeah.
Nepal could learn that. It has not learned that. So I use these two countries to discuss how India's experience, how India's resilience, how India's handling of diversity can be used by other countries to avoid strife. And I use these two Asian countries as a model. But I'm sure we can discuss how it can help other countries also.
So this Tarai region is actually India's territory, or it is Nepal territory?
It is territory of Nepal at this point in time,
Yeah.
but even in India, previously there were different kingdoms and small kingdoms and British Empire that was taking over the 200 years from 17th century to 19th century, the Shahs, they basically conquered everything. So the modern unified Nepal is because of Shahs, the Shah family, able by their dynasty of Ranas, who were the prime ministers, basically compacted Nepal as it stands. But some of these southern regions were not technically original part of Nepal.
Okay, so we have nearly 8 minutes of time left. I'm trying to just take up one more question.
Sure.
Uh, how can India's emphasis on non-alignment and strategic autonomy inspire countries to pursue independent foreign policies that prioritize national interest while promoting peace and stability in the region and beyond?
Well, India has been a case study in so-called non-alignment and strategic, I won't say strategic autonomy, I'll say strategic independence.
Yeah.
I think nations' interests are supreme, not ideology. And although we started as non-alignment, but it became a kind of ideological mantra. It became anti-West, anti-US, anti-imperial grouping. Since the world at that time was divided into two groups, it lost the significance it had by closely aligning with the non-aligned movement, closely aligned with the Soviet bloc, the NAM, non-aligned movement. Uh, India has corrected course correction, and now we do what we call strategic independence. So we'll work with any nation as long as it promotes our interests. So we will work with Russian Federation and we'll work with United States. Our prime minister spoke to Vladimir Putin after he was re-elected for the sixth time. But 3 hours after that, he also spoke to Volodymyr Zelensky.
Yeah.
So we have that strength, that endurance, that fortitude, so that we can talk to enemy nations at our own strength, at our own level, without playing one against each other. All we are trying to do is to promote some harmony, some peace in that part of the world, without sacrificing our own national interests. And yes, the West vehemently criticized Bharat for purchasing energy or oil from Russia or Russian Federation. But they were doing hypocritical things that their imports of Russian energy had not gone down.
Yeah.
Uh, all this while, even till today, United States continues to purchase enriched uranium or the nuclear fuel from the Russian Federation till today. So there's a lot of hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And to other countries of the world, Bharat's course correction into genuine strategic independence. Yes, we are part of a lot of trilaterals and plurilaterals, Quad, and then we are part of BRICS. We are part of, IPEF, Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. We are also part of SCO. So we should be able to talk to anyone and everyone without considering anyone as untouchable, anyone as a pariah state, except for our sworn enemies.
Yeah.
But this is a kind of beacon of hope to rest of the countries, that you don't have to be camp follower, and you have to, pursue your own national interests without compromising your own autonomy or independence.
So I
I'm,
think,
I'm pretty clear that Bharat has given a real life example to rest of the world how this can be achieved.
but the West hardly take a note of it actually, because a few days back I saw a post on the LinkedIn about the happiness index. So the
Uh,
Bharat was long down in the order actually. So they are just deciding who is happy, who is not happy.
Look, West has given a physical colonization, but they are using colonization by any other means.
Right.
It is intellectual colonization, whether that is civilization colonization, whether that is putting trade barriers, whether it's putting unfair rules, climate concerns. West is very hypocritical. They need to change their mindset. They are not going to view us as the leader. There'll be a lot of hard burning. I was reading something that these journalists, they were witnessing one of India's launches, space launches, and they saw Indian scientists, and all they could comment was how dark skinned they are. They could not comprehend the magnitude of achievement by the space launch. And the only comment they could say that, there was no white skinned person in that. These were dark skinned people. So West has problems. West has to relearn, re-educate, and give up the hypocritical attitude. But West is not the word.
Yeah.
West is not the word. The power, the center of gravity of geopolitical power has already shifted eastward.
Yeah.
The sooner the West realizes, the better it would be for the Western alliance of nations.
So thank you so much, sir. This was really enlightening. So we are going to end this session and we'll be rejoining in 5 minutes of time.
Okay.
Thank you, viewers. As we draw the curtains on this insightful journey through India's geopolitics, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to every one of you for turning in and actively participating in this enriching discussion. Your engagement and enthusiasm have truly fueled the spirit of exploration and learning, inspiring us to delve deeper into the realms of geopolitics, understanding, and its implication for a brighter future. As we bid farewell, we kindly request you to support in spreading the word about Bharat and geopolitics. Share your thoughts, insights, and key takeaways from today's episode with your friends, family, and colleagues. Together, let's amplify the ripple effect of knowledge and ignite a collective passion for creating positive change in our world. Thank you once again for your unwavering support, commitment to lifelong learning. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired,